Hello, my name is Matt Hamilton, and I'm a developer advocate at Protocol Labs, part of the FVM team, as David just said. So, yes, I'm going to explain the differences between FVM and Bacalhau and where kind of how they differ, the different kind of use cases. But I'm going to dive quite a bit into FVM in this talk. So, can I first of all ask, can you put your hands up if you have ever written and deployed an Ethereum or Ethereum-style Solidity smart contract on a blockchain before? A few. Okay, great. So that's about 10, 20% of the room. So that's great. So for those people, hopefully what you will see here is how easy it is to use Filecoin as a target to deploy your Solidity contracts. For those of you who did not put your hands up, you'll hopefully see exactly the same thing. Right? So I'm going to walk this right the way through from start to end. So in this talk, I'm going to be switching between slides and explaining what the FVM is, and I'm also going to demo Gremlins on my side, be doing a complete live demo of deploying an Ethereum smart contract. So currently Filecoin is known for being a decentralized storage and retrieval network, providing about 17 exabytes of storage capacity and over several thousand nodes. But that's really just the start. Storage is just the start. And this has been, you may have heard this reiterated a few times over the last week. So you could think about Filecoin as the layer 0. The next layer on top, layer 1, is where FVM sits. So FVM is computation over state data. So the state of the storage, not the actual data. That is where the likes of Bacalhau come into play, which is when you're dealing with the actual data off-chain, and that is the actual data stored on IPFS and or potentially on Filecoin via services like S3, for example. So FVM provides the ability to interact with the state of the data. Now, David presented a slide earlier on that's again been sort of mentioned by people like Juan Benet earlier on, talking about how Filecoin layer 1 can be a really useful place to then start building layer 2 networks on top. And a lot of those layer 2 networks can be built on top of Filecoin, built on top of the Filecoin virtual machine. So what sort of things might you want to build with regards to this? There's a number of ideas just kind of shown up here that may give you some ideas of the sort of things that you could build, but it could be things like data DAOs, where people contribute together to a smart contract to fund the storage of data. That may even then lead into things like paying for off-chain computation via Bacalhau, for example. There's a lot of potential crossover there in the future. Things like perpetual storage contracts. So on Filecoin, you negotiate a storage deal to store a certain amount of data with a certain provider for a certain amount of time, and you pay for that storage deal. So a smart contract could be used to automatically renew that storage deal or provide additional replication. So you might say, I want this data stored in 5 different locations, and a smart contract might monitor that, notice that one of them's gone off, and renegotiate another one to bring you back up to the replication you so desired. So on the technical front, when FVM was first envisaged, it was designed to be a kind of host multiple runtimes, and it was inspired by things like hypervisors, virtual machines, the Unix kernel, the actor model. So actually smart contracts on Filecoin are actually called actors. And this is what the FVM looks like at the moment. It's a WASM-based, a WebAssembly-based polyglot designed runtime. So you can write smart contracts in various languages like Rust, Go, WebAssembly script that compile down to WebAssembly to run natively. Or you can use, for example, what I'm going to demonstrate today, which is the Filecoin Ethereum virtual machine, FEVM, that allows you to run Solidity smart contracts. We've got certain things on here. All data is stored, for example, IPLD native. We have foreign addressing support, so you'll see in a bit how we address and map Ethereum addresses to Filecoin addresses. And we've got things like resource metering, so we instrument the WASM code in order to calculate the amount of gas that's needed, the amount of currency that's needed to pay for that execution. So in terms of a bit of a roadmap here, so shipping the FVM is a hard task. It transforms the entire execution layer of Filecoin. And so we're doing this in stages. Earlier in July, there was a skier upgrade, which we deemed as M1, milestone 1, which is a non-programmable FVM, and that's installed in the mainnet. So yes, you heard that right. FVM is actually running in production at the moment on the mainnet of Filecoin. However, it's not programmable. Or you do not have access. It's not user programmable at the moment. So what happened was a number of the inbuilt system actors that make Filecoin as a whole run were rewritten to run on the FVM within Filecoin. So then the thing that we're working on now is milestone M2.1, which is the Ethereum, the EVM runtime on FVM. We have a testnet online. Testnet's called Wallaby, and we have a hackathon. We have several hackathons going on. We've actually got a hack day. I'll talk a little bit about this actually going on right now. And we have a hackathon in November. And the plan is for mainnet to launch estimated February next year. So the whole idea of this is we have implemented EVM compatibility for Filecoin. So that means you can use all of the Ethereum tooling, or the same tooling that's used for Ethereum development, the same IDEs, the same development tools, the same programming language, and deploy to Filecoin. So again, this goes back to, and this reiterates on the same kind of topic that David was talking about meeting users where they are, right? So this is aimed at Web3 users who are developing on top of other blockchains at the moment to now be able to bring that logic to Filecoin as well, to deploy smart contracts on Filecoin. So, and just before we arrived in Lisbon, literally a few days ago, the very first transaction was completed on Filecoin using MetaMask, and I'm going to demo that as well. For those that don't know, MetaMask is a web-based wallet that's used pretty much ubiquitously throughout the Ethereum ecosystem. So, whilst we're there, I'm going to demo this. And what I'm going to start with is, so we start with MetaMask. I have actually installed this, and you see a little MetaMask icon up here in my browser. And all I've done is just straightforward installed MetaMask. And as far as it's concerned, we're looking at an Ethereum network. So the first thing we need to do is configure it to look at Wallaby, our Filecoin testnet. There's a website called Chainlist, chainlist.org, and it lists a whole bunch of different blockchains. So I can go into here, and I can type in Filecoin, and I can enable testnets, and I can pick Wallaby from there. So I hit Connect Wallet, and MetaMask comes up and asks me to approve it. I say yes, I say connect, and it connects. And we go back to here, and I can click Add to MetaMask. And it has found, it's a little small there to see, but it's found all the details about the Wallaby network. So what's called the chain ID, which tells you which blockchain you're referring to, the network URL, so that's the endpoint you're going to be communicating with, and things like the currency that is used on the network, which is TFIL, which is test fill on the network. And so I approve that and click Switch Network. And now when I go up to MetaMask, it says you've switched network, and I say got it. And you can see it says Filecoin Wallaby testnet at the top and 0 TFIL. So I've got 0 funds there. So the first thing I need to do is I need to copy that address. I need to go to the Explorer and paste that address in there and convert it, a little small here, but convert it to a Filecoin address, which is down there. So I'm just going to copy that and go to what's called the testnet faucet. So this is a service that will deliver me some Filecoin tokens in order to execute. I have to prove I am a human. Each image containing an item that the person normally wears on their pants. Here we go. Bum, 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 bum. It's hard to see in this light, actually. Hopefully I'm a human. Am I a human? Yes, I am a human. And send. Right. So that is now sending that. That's doing a transaction on the network to send that. So whilst that's going on, I will flick back to my slides here. So if you're interested in what's going on here, while that's executing, I'll tell you about the FVM Foundry Early Builders Program. So this is a program we've got, and there's currently over 100 teams and builders that are building on the Filecoin network. If anybody was here at the Retrieval Summit a few days ago, there's some companies there. There's a company called Magmo who are there demonstrating talking about what they're doing with building payment state channels on top of the Filecoin virtual machine. And talking to George Nee from Magmo, he said they're an Ethereum house, and this makes it easy for them to basically take everything they developed in Ethereum and just port it straight over to Filecoin. And all of this is made possible by the FVM team. So this is them here. I'm standing on the shoulder of giants here. I just get to demo all the cool stuff that they have built. So let's go back to our network here. Let's go back to, and we will see, hopefully, yes, we have 5,000 TFIL. So that has delivered some currency to us. So we now have some currency to pay for the deployment of the smart contract we're going to deploy. So there's a tool called Remix. It's a web-based IDE for developing smart contracts on Ethereum. And so this is all just bog standard Ethereum stuff. There's nothing Filecoin specific here. What I'm going to do is create a new workspace. I choose a template, and I'm going to choose what's called an ERC20 contract. That is the type of contract that is used to represent tokens on the network. So you might have heard things like USDC represented on networks or other cryptocurrency tokens. We're going to create an ERC20 token on our network. So I click OK, and it gives me a bunch of boilerplate here. So I probably should have tried to get a lavalier mic, but there's a few things we need to change here before I deploy this. First of all, I'm going to create a new token. Make it bigger? Yep. There we go. So I'm going to create a token here, and I'm going to call it my COD token, and I'm going to give it the currency symbol COD, because this is a token we're going to use to pay in future, David, for your COD jobs, right? For example, maybe. Who knows? But I'll go do that, and I hit the compile button, and one of the things it's going to do is pull in a bunch of dependencies. Now, I said this is just bog standard vanilla Ethereum Solidity. We support most things there. There's two things we do not yet support as of this exact moment in time, but possibly will do by the time, well, the speed that the team are going, possibly by the time I finish speaking, but probably in a week or two time. And that is events and logging are the two things we don't support. So in order to get this to work, I've just got to go in and find the lines of code that emit an event and just delete them. So there are 4 occurrences in this file. So I'm just going to, that's this 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one. I think that's it. Yep, right. So I can compile that, and my token, just recompile that just to make sure that's got the latest bits in. Right. So all I've done is just remove those emit those emit lines, but otherwise this is just a straightforward Ethereum contract. I then go to deploy it. And what I can do is I can, from here, choose where I'm going to be deploying it. And I choose here, he says. Why can I not see the deployments? Dun, dun, dun. Ah, sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. So it's currently selected to use like a dummy environment. I'm going to choose to inject the provider from MetaMask because we've configured MetaMask already for Filecoin. I click Next. I click Connect. That connects. And we're now pointing to Filecoin. As you can see, it says we've got 5,000. It thinks it's Ether. It's not. It's TFIL. But we've got 5,000 tokens there. And I'm going to hit Deploy to deploy a contract. It comes up and asks me to confirm. And there we go. So this is now deploying this smart contract to the Filecoin testnet, to the Wallaby testnet. So that'll take a couple of moments. I'll come back and show you the lovely, fantastic FVM team that have been building everything, that are great. And they're here actually at the event. If you want to have a chat to them, they'll be around most of the next week or two. And we're actually having an event running right now, a hack day at another location. I'm going to be going straight from here over to there, but there's I think it's in the program, there's the FVM Open Hack Day if anybody's interested in coming along to that. And meanwhile, while that's running as well, I'm going to talk about there's a starter kit. So I showed you Remix just then, the web-based IDE. Another popular tool that people use is Hardhat. And my colleague Zach has created a Hardhat starter kit. So there's a starter kit there on GitHub that you can clone and you can then deploy there. And there's a QR code that'll take you there. Let's see how we're getting on. Is this still going? This is still executing. Right. When it's finished, it'll show down here, show as a deployed contract down here. We also have a forum, FVM forum, and you can go to that forum there. And the QR code will take you there, fvm-forum.filecoin.io. If you have any sort of questions and discussions, I mean, I can answer stuff after this, or maybe while some things are running, but there's some place you can go as well. There. Right, this has completed. Down the bottom here, there's a message saying it's completed. And if I go to the left and scroll down, we see deployed contract. And when I open that up, what I have here are all of the methods I can call on my contract. So the first thing I want to do is I want to mint some of these tokens. So I'm going to mint, I want an address to send it to. So I'm just going to copy my address here again and paste that in there. And now there are, I believe, 18 decimal places of precision here. So I've got to specify this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then a couple more because I want 100. And hit transact. MetaMask comes up to allow me to sign it, and I'm paying for the transaction in the native currency, in the Filecoin token, or TFIL, the test Filecoin token. And that is now submitting that to the network. So I'll have just another little wait while that is actually generating those tokens, so minting those tokens on the network as an initial process and sending them to my account. Now, my MetaMask account here doesn't know what tokens it wants to look at, because on a blockchain there could be effectively an infinite number of tokens. So I need to tell it which tokens I'm interested in. And if I click on assets, unfortunately I can't make this bit bigger, but hopefully you can see. Click on assets here, and it says I have 499,000 and change TFIL because I've just spent a bit to run my contract. Now I have to click down the bottom, import token, and I need the contract address. So I'm actually going to copy that from Remix. There's the contract address there. I just need to go back to there. Assets, import. And if I paste that in, it's already found it, COD. So it's looked on the network, found the COD token, 18 decimal places, and I'm going to hit add custom token. And the transaction's already completed, so I have our 100 COD. So we've minted, we've compiled, deployed a smart contract, Ethereum smart style Solidity smart contract to the network. We've created a custom token, COD, that we've now minted, and we have now done there. Now, there's certain things we can do with that, so I'm going to hit import here. One of the things we could do, for example, is we could send it to another account. So up here, I'm just going to say create another account. So I'm going to create a second account, account 2, and I'm going to copy that address. I'm going to go back to my account 1, I'm going to go down to my COD, and I'm going to send. I put the address in, and I want to send, say, for example, 88 COD. And again, it'll come up and ask me to sign the transaction. And that is now pending. If I go back to here, I will need to do that import step that I did again, just so that this new account knows the token. So I hit copy there. Go back to MetaMask to our second account, assets, import token, put the contract address in, and it should. Oh no, I didn't copy the address. That didn't copy. Let's try that again. Copy there. Go back to MetaMask, import token, paste in the contract address. It should find its COD, add custom token, import tokens. And it says we have 88 COD. So that transaction is just completed. So we've gone right the way through from creating a smart contract, deploying a smart contract, minting a token, and then actually transferring the token from one account to another. So that kind of gives you a rundown of what you can do with smart contracts. It's a very simple example, but it's using just a straightforward ERC20 contract from Ethereum. These are the same things that are used all over Ethereum for tokens, for example. And you could build a lot more on top of that. You could build things like decentralized exchanges. You could build things, like I said, data DAOs, where you have funds coming in from multiple different places that are used to maybe collectively fund storage, for example. So there we go. So I mentioned a couple of things coming up. The Filecoin Virtual Machine FVM Open Hack Day, that is happening right at this exact instant at Jardim 9 de Abril. And there's also an ETH Global Hackathon that is happening on November the 18th to 20th. It's over a weekend. And if you check the ETH Global website, you'll find out more details about that coming up very shortly. So there we go. Thank you very much.